everyone, welcome to Bible study time and welcome to my quiet time Bible study. This is the time where I invite you to come and join me in the comfort of our prayer room where we discuss different topics to do with the Most High Creator God of the universe, the God of all gods, the God of all spirits, my God, Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And this week we are continuing on with our read-along series. I do have some announcements about that. But before we get into that, as I previously mentioned, I am going to be going into my Bible study tools, kind of doing like a roundup, mostly the newer ones. I would say in the spring, but I did manage to get a couple new things that I wanted to share with you. One of them in particular is this book here that I'm going to be reading. I haven't read it yet. It's called Empowered Transformations, Real Stories of Hope. And the reason I'm looking through this book is because Sharon Riley, someone I'm an acquaintance with who happens to be a Juno winner and also just a fabulous woman of God, has written and contributed, co-authored this book. This book is about empowering stories from different women. And so particularly I want to mention the chapter that Sharon Riley is in chapter number 35, and it's called A Second Chance. And also there's another acquaintance of mine that I have to give a shout out to, chapter 36, titled Restoration, written by Jean Lawrence Scotland. So this is a great book filled with stories of empowerment. I do encourage you to check out Sharon Riley, and she also, as I mentioned, is an entertainer, and she's on Instagram, and I'm going to leave all of the links and the details and everything in the description of this video. So that is something that's new, that's on my reading list, particularly chapters 35 and 36, Empowered Transformations, Real Stories of Hope by Jasmine E. Clark. I'll leave a link in the description. Can't wait to get into that. Also, I did receive a gift from one of my subscribers for my birthday, and this one is fantastic. And I am going to do cutaways when I go into my Bible study tools, because I know some of you guys have requested that. I'm still kind of learning how to do the editing, guys, but this is really a useful Bible study tool, and I'm so grateful for it. It's a timeline of the Bible. But what I love the most about it, fantastic gift that I don't have, is that it has charts in it. So for example, just quickly, briefly, right? We see here that it refers to the ancient Israelite kingdoms here. So then in this page right here, what you'll see is it has a fold out. And this is what I love, because, you know, space can become limited when you collect lots of tools. So in these fold out pages, what you'll see, I hope that you guys can see this, is that it folds out to a huge timeline of things like ancient Israelite kings. This is not the only one. Do you see how that works? I'm trying to hold it up here. Isn't that fantastic? And then you can go through it. You can verify things that people tend to say that they haven't checked. So I'm really, and I love just how it folds up in a nice compact way there. So I'm really looking forward to using this. You know, a lot of the time when it comes to these Bible study tools, I'm usually using them because I'm on some type of a fact-finding mission, because there's a discrepancy regarding dates and things of that nature. But thank you so much to my subscriber. I love you. That happens to be a subscriber who's in my personal social circle, not an acquaintance, someone really close to me, and I appreciate it. I've received lots of gifts for my birthday, some really big gifts and things of that nature, but that's one that's really going to be useful for my passion and my hobby, this Bible study channel. So with that being said, this week we're going to continue reading through the book of Jasher from the complete 54 book Apocrypha. As I mentioned, I want to make an announcement. So this is going to be the last read along with this particular book. For many reasons, but particularly because this book is extremely long, and I know that there are a lot of you who do appreciate the read along series. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of next week summarize them, maybe 10 chapters at a time, because it's just too time consuming, and this is a Bible study channel, and I really want to delve into some of the newer subjects and topics that I am very excited about. Now, I just wanted to mention that we are only on chapter 24, and there are still 91 chapters, and literally these chapters are extremely long. So I will give you a detailed synopsis. Right now, where's my mind at as I'm reading through? I do see how, based on things like chapter 23 that we read last week, I can see how individuals can say or assume that this book might be inaccurate, because it does delve into details like in the mind of the characters that it's speaking about in reference to, let's just say, Abraham or Isaac and Sarah. And it makes me wonder, because I'm not sure who's writing this, so if it's not the Most High Creator God writing it, how do we know what's going on in the minds of these individuals? Also, some discrepancy from last week that sort of were annoying to me, and I do encourage you to go into your own research, but like, even why was Ishmael going along with Eleazar for this when Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac? I thought Ishmael was off elsewhere. So just some little discrepancies even around the death of Sarah, which I totally understand. She could have died from grief, but I'm just saying, as I'm reading through, my intuition is not really feeling the same way that it felt when I was reading the book of Jubilees. So I will give you guys a detailed synopsis next week. This will be the last read along that I'm reading along with you word for word on this channel regarding the book of Jasher, but I will look for a really accurate audio recording of it that is clear and that is high quality, and I will link it somewhere on my channel or in one of these videos. And of course, once I find it, I will let you know. So with that being said, let's get into our next chapter of the book of Jasher. We left off last week reading chapter 23, which was a little bit peculiar to me. Now I'm just going to read through chapter 24, and then I'm going to share a lot of research with you on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to whether or not this book is considered valid, spiritual, and things of that nature. And the Bible says in a multitude of counselors there is wisdom, so I'm going to try my best to share a lot of opinions with you. So for those of you, the small group of you who've let me know who have this book, I am on page 355. And as I mentioned, Sarah just basically died in the previous chapter, and she died basically from grief, right? From what they're saying here in the book of Jasher. So let's begin reading verse 1 of chapter 24. Of course, it is a little bit overcast, so I have my light here. Verse 1, and the life of Sarah was 127 years old, and Sarah died, and Abraham rose up from before his dead to seek a burial place to bury his wife Sarah. And he went and spoke to the children of Heth, the inhabitants of the land, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you in your land. Give me possession of a burial place in your land, that I may bury my dead from before me. And the children of Heth said to Abraham, Behold, the land is before you. In the choice of your tombs, bury your dead, for no man will withhold you from burying your dead. And Abraham said to them, If you were agreeable to this, go and entreat me to Ephron, the son of Zochar, requesting that he may give me the care of Machpelah, which is in the end of his field, and I will purchase it from him for whatever he desires for it. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and they went and called for him. And he came before Abraham, and Ephron said to Abraham, Behold, your servant will do all that you require. And Abraham said, No, but I will buy the cave and the field where you have for value, in order that it may be for possession of a burial place forever. And Ephron answered and said, Behold, in the field and the cave, behold, the field and the cave are before you. Give whatever you desire. And Abraham said, Only at full value will I buy it from your hand, and from the hands of those that go in at the gate of your city, and from the hand of your seed forever. And Ephron and all his brothers heard this. And Abraham weighed 400 shekels of silver to Ephron in the hands of Ephron and in the hands of all his brothers. And Abraham recorded this transaction, and he recorded it and testified to it with 4 witnesses. And these are the names of the witnesses: Amigal, son of Abishna, the Hittite; Adikoram, son of Ashunach, the Hivite; Abdon, son of Akrim, the Gomerite; and Bakdil, the son of Abdish, the Zidonite. And Abraham took the scroll of the purchase and placed it in his treasures. And these are the words that Abraham wrote in the scroll, namely that the cave and the field Abraham bought from Ephron the Hittite, and from his seed, and from those that go out of his city, and from their seed forever, are to be a purchase to Abraham and to his seed, and to those that go out from his loins for possession of a burial place forever. And he put a signet to it and testified to it with witnesses. And the field and the cave that was in it, and all that place were made sure to Abraham and to his seed after him from the children of Heth. Behold, it is before Mamre in Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan. And after this Abraham buried his wife Sarah there, and that place and all its boundary became to Abraham and to his seed for possession of a burial place. And Abraham buried Sarah with pomp, as observed at the interment of kings, and she was buried in a very fine and beautiful garment. And Shem, his sons, Eber and Abimelech, together with Anar, Ashol, and Mamre, were at her bier, and all the noblemen of the land followed her bier. And the days of Sarah were 127 years, and she died. And Abraham made a great and heavy mourning, and he performed the rites of mourning for 7 days. And all the inhabitants of the land comforted Abraham and his son Isaac on account of Sarah. And when the days of their mourning had passed by, Abraham sent his son Isaac away, and he went to the house of Shem and Eber to learn the ways of the Lord and his instructions. And Abraham remained there 3 years. At that time Abraham rose up with all his servants, and they went and returned homeward to Beersheba. And Abraham and all his servants remained in Beersheba. And at the revolution of the year, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, died in that year. He was 193 years old at his death. And Abraham went with his people to the land of the Philistines, and they comforted the whole household and all the servants, and he then turned and went home. And it was after the death of Abimelech that the people of Gerar took his son Ben-Melech, and he was only 12 years old, and they made him lie in the place of his father. And they called his name Abimelech after the name of his father, for thus it was their custom to do in Gerar. And Abimelech reigned instead of his father Abimelech, and he sat on his throne. And Lot the son of Haran also died in those days, in the 39th year of the life of Isaac. And all the days that Lot lived were 140 years, and he died. And these are the children of Lot that were born to him by his daughters. The name of the firstborn was Moab, and the name of the second one was Benami. And the two sons of Lot went and took wives for themselves from the land of Canaan. And they bore children to them. And the children of Moab were Ed, Maon, Tarsus, and Canville, 4 sons. These are fathers to the children of Moab to this day. And all the families of the children of Lot went to dwell wherever they should settle, for they were fruitful and increasing abundantly. And they went and built themselves cities in the land where they dwelt, and they called the names of the cities which they built after their own names. And Nahor, the son of Terah, brother to Abraham, died in those days in the 40th year of the life of Isaac. And all the days of Nahor, were 172 years. And he died and was buried in Haran. And when Abraham heard that his brother was dead, he grieved sadly, and he mourned over his brother many days. And Abraham called for his head servant Eliezer to give him orders concerning his house. And he came and stood before him. And Abraham said to him, Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death, for I am advanced in days now. Therefore rise up, go out, and do not take a wife for my son from this place and from this land, from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom we dwell. But go to my land and to my birthplace, and take a wife for my son from there. And the Lord God of the heavens and the earth, who took me from my father's house and brought me to this place, and said to me, To your seed I will give this land for an inheritance forever, he will send his messenger before you and prosper your way, that you may obtain a wife for my son from my family and from my father's house. And the servant answered his master Abraham and said, Behold, I go to your birthplace and to your father's house, and will take a wife for your son from there. But if the woman is not willing to follow me to this land, will I take your son back to the land of your birthplace? And Abraham said to him, Take heed that you do not bring my son here again, for the Lord before whom I have walked will send his messenger before you and prosper your way. And Eleazar did as Abraham ordered him. And Eleazar swore to Abraham his master on this matter. And Eleazar rose up and took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and 10 men from his master's servants with him. And they rose up and went to Haran, the city of Abraham and Nahor, in order to fetch a wife for Isaac, the son of Abraham. And while they were gone, Abraham sent to the house of Shem and Eber, and they brought his son Isaac from there. And Isaac came home to his father's house to Beersheba, while Eleazar and his men came to Haran. And they stopped in the city by the watering place. And he made his camels to kneel down by the water, and they remained there. And Eleazar, Abraham's servant, prayed and said, O God of my master Abraham, please send me good speed this day, and show kindness to my master, that you will appoint a wife for my master's son from his family this day. And the Lord listened to the voice of Eleazar for the sake of his servant Abraham, and he happened to meet with the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, brother to Abraham, and Eleazar came to her house. And Eleazar related to them all his concerns, and that he was Abraham's servant, and they greatly rejoiced to him. And they all blessed the Lord who brought this thing about, and they gave him Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, for wife for Isaac. And the young woman was of very beautiful appearance. She was a virgin, and Rebekah was 10 years old in those days. And Bethuel and Laban and his children made a feast on that night, and Eleazar and his men came and ate and drank and rejoiced there on that night. And Eleazar rose up in the morning, he and the men that were with him, and he called to the whole household of Bethuel, saying, Send me away, that I may go to my master. And they rose up and sent away Rebekah and her nurse Deborah, the daughter of Uz, and they gave her silver and gold, men servants and maidservants, and they blessed her. And they sent Eliezer away with his men, and the servants took Rebekah, and he went and returned to his master to the land of Canaan. And Isaac took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he brought her into the tent. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of his uncle, to Bethuel for a wife. Definitely we'll have to unpack that chapter, especially the latter half, some more next week. And that brings me to the end of our reading. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I really want to focus on some other Bible study topics and tools, research tools that I can share with you so that you can practically apply them instead of just clicking on videos or, taking someone else's opinion. Research tools that you can use that are simple and easy in order for you to unpack the Word of the Most High Creator God. I want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video today, and I'm so grateful to the Most High Creator God for all of his wonderful blessings that he has given to me, particularly for my husband this week, because it is his birthday week. I'm grateful to the Most High Creator God for allowing my husband to see another year. And before I say goodbye, I want to remind you that the Most High Creator God of the universe sent his son, Yehoshua HaMashiach, to die for all of our sins, and he loves all of his children.